Today, as we get together on our Shepherd's Bookshelf, we're looking at a book on prayer. And I looked at and read books on prayer throughout my life. I have a whole shelf of books on prayer. And people ask me sometimes, what's a good book on prayer? And, I have a hard time identifying one. I've read books that are devotional. I've read books about the examples of people that are supposed to be great prayers. I've seen books on techniques, how-tos, that kind of thing, and all sorts of books on prayer. But the best book I have ever read on prayer is one I wanted to review today, and it's been a book that's been around for a while. It was actually published originally in 1992 by D.A. Carson. It's a book. The original name was A Call to Spiritual Reformation, and that was actually a misnomer. The subtitle says Priorities from Paul and His Prayers. That's better. Even that did not capture the essence of the book. So it's not a call to spiritual reformation per se, although prayer can lead to spiritual reformation. But it's a book about the prayers of the New Testament, the prayers of, especially of Paul. And so as I read this book years ago, I realized the name was not really good. It's not the best name for it, but the content was very good. Now, it's come out more recently in a second edition with a better title, Praying with Paul. So if you were to order this book now from one of the book dealers, this is what you would probably run into, is the new title, Praying with Paul. At any rate, it's quite a good book. He is doing exactly what he says he's doing. He's going through the prayers of Paul in the New Testament, showing us how Paul prayed, and that serves as a model for us in our own prayer life. So if you really want to know how to pray better, check out the prayers of the New Testament. You could also check out the prayers of Jesus, but especially the prayers of Paul. In many of his epistles, he has a section or two in which he has a prayer, and that's what Carson is identifying here. He is a theologian. As a result of that, sometimes he gets a little deep in the woods for some people. I've read some of his books that I thought were excellent in part, and a section of his book was very heavy, and only the academic type of person would be interested in those things. Then he gets to a very practical section that is applicable to almost anybody. And so even in his own books, sometimes he has almost two different kinds of writings. And this one, it's not so much that, except that there are occasions when it's a little difficult. What I would encourage you to do is persevere. If it gets a little deep for you, don't worry about it. Press on, because the meat of the book and the details that it gives us are very, very helpful. So again, I would recommend to you for a book on prayer, this one right here, because it's not a how-to book. It's not a bunch of techniques. It's not just exactly a practical guide. It's a model of the prayers of the New Testament apostle, Paul, and how he prayed. And one thing I would mention here, as you look at that, you find that although I'm sure Paul is concerned and occasionally prays about physical needs, health, and so forth, the primary subject of his prayers is the spiritual. And that he's praying for the Lord to open the eyes of the saints. He's praying for us to understand the position we have in Christ and what the Lord has done for us and so forth. So he's looking at the spiritual aspects of prayer and praying for other individuals that they can understand these things and appropriate these things. I think that's a real good model, because most of our prayers tend to be about physical things. Now, sometimes in public praying, we probably have to do that to a certain degree, because you can't divulge the spiritual needs of people too openly in many occasions unless we're given permission to do so. So I understand that often in the public realm. But in our private prayers, we tend to do the same. We're praying for the physical health of different individuals and ourselves and our family and the finances and all those kinds of things. Very good to pray about that. Anything on your heart and mind to pray about is fine. But the essence of these prayers was about the spiritual needs of those that Paul was ministering to. That's a great paradigm for us to follow. Are we praying for one another about those kinds of things, those spiritual aspects of living and walking with God? I suggest we should do that based upon Paul's prayers, and this book guides us, and pray that for ourselves as well. I pray often that my own eyes will be open to seeing the splendor of God and the wonders that are mine in Him. And I pray for that for other people as well. So, great model. I recommend this book highly.